The galaxy had known silence for a millennium, a fragile quiet stitched together by treaties and the fading scars of ancient wars, where stars burned and civilizations crumbled into dust. The 1,000-year peace, they called it, a golden era, where the Clythar, with their obsidian fleets and bioengineered drones, the Zorathians with their crystalline cities that sang in the void, and 100 other races tiptoed around each other, their weapons sheathed, their diplomats spinning webs of promises to keep the fragile balance. But humans? Oh, humans were the wild card, the latecomers to the galactic conquered, joining just 2 centuries ago, their ships a little too fast, their colonies sprawling across the Orion Arm like they owned the stars themselves. They built cities on asteroid belts for the thrill of it, raced frigates through black holes for sport, and grinned a little too wide when danger loomed. The galaxy whispered about them, reckless, bold, maybe a touch insane. So, when the Clythar High Council's broadcast cut through the void, their mandibles clicking in cold fury, their warships gleaming like knives in the dark, the galaxy froze. The message was a hiss that chilled every translator. The peace is over. Humanity's arrogance ends now. Surrender or be erased. The Zorathians dimmed their cities in fear, their crystals humming with unease. The Vren sealed their nebula hives, cutting off trade. The Dravi, ancient and reclusive, watched from their veiled worlds. But the humans? They didn't flinch. They didn't cower. They laughed, a deep, rolling, belly-shaking roar that echoed from Earth to the icy outposts on Titan's rim. And that laughter, it was the spark that would set the galaxy ablaze. But the Clythar hadn't studied human history, not deeply. They'd skimmed the archives, dismissed the tales of Thermopylae, where a handful stood against an empire, of Stalingrad, where frost and fire forged victory, of the Martian rebellion, where miners with fusion torches held off an AI armada for a year, with nothing but grit and spite. They didn't know the human knack for turning desperation into defiance, for building miracles from scrap. So when the Clythar's first fleet jumped into Sol system, expecting a quick surrender, they found a trap. Earth's moon wasn't just a moon anymore. It was a fortress, bristling with railguns the size of skyscrapers, each humming with enough power to punch through a dreadnought's hull. The asteroid belt? A maze of cloaked drones, each packed with antimatter warheads, winking like fireflies in the dark. And the human ships, those quaint little frigates, darted like hornets, too fast for the Clythar's targeting arrays, their pilots whooping over open comms, taunting in a dozen languages. "Come get some, Bugface!" one shouted, ramming a corvette into a Clythar cruiser's reactor core. The explosion lit the void, a supernova of human audacity. The Clythar reeled. Their fleet, 1,000 strong, was bleeding. Ships shattered, drones scattered, their perfect formations crumbling under the chaos of human tactics. The High Strategist screeched, its biothrone pulsing with rage, demanding answers from its neural web. "How?" it hissed, as reports flooded in of human ships slipping through gravity wells, of pilots pulling maneuvers that defied physics, of ground troops rigging derelict stations into bombs. The answer came from a captured human pilot, a wiry woman named Captain Elena Voss, her flight suit torn, blood dripping from her lip. Strapped to an interrogation matrix, she didn't scream, didn't beg. She leaned forward, grinning like a blade, and said, "You think war's a science? For us, it's art." Then she laughed, that infuriating human laugh, and the Clythar's neural web glitched, unable to process the defiance. Back on Earth, the war machine roared to life. Factories buried under Martian dunes churned out fighters by the thousands, piloted by volunteers who'd grown up racing skiffs through Jupiter's storms. Shipyards in the Kuiper Belt spat out carriers, their hulls forged from asteroid iron, crews singing old sea shanties as they loaded torpedoes. And the scientists, wild-eyed, coffee-fueled maniacs unveiled their ace, the chronopulse, a weapon that didn't just destroy, it warped time itself, freezing enemy ships in a single helpless moment, ripe for the picking. The Clither had never seen anything like it. Their gravity lances faltered, their bioswarms froze mid-flight, and the humans swept through, laughing, their ships painted with garish slogans. Try harder, bug spray included, peace was boring anyway. But the war wasn't one-sided. The Clither were no fools. They adapted, their biodrones evolving armor that shrugged off railgun slugs, their gravity lances recalibrated to tear through human shields. They struck back, viciously. New Havana, a thriving colony on Alpha Centauri, was glassed, its domes reduced to ash. The oceans of Epsilon Eridani boiled into steam, leaving cracked, lifeless plains. Billions died, and the galaxy whispered that humanity's laughter would choke on grief. But grief didn't break humans, it forged them. On every world, survivors rose. A teenager on Tau Ceti, barely 16, led a guerrilla band, using stolen Clithar tech to jam their comms, turning their own drones against them. A farmer on Gliese 581 rigged his harvester into a mobile flak cannon, downing a dozen drones before they took him out. The turning point came at the Battle of Rigel's Vale, a nebula thick with ion storms, where the Clithar thought they'd ambush the human Second Fleet. They didn't know the humans had cracked their encryption, didn't know the nebula was a human playground. The Second Fleet was bait, dangling in the haze, while the First and Third Fleets waited in the shadows, their chronopulses synced. When the Clithar sprang their trap, they found themselves caught instead. The human fleet struck, freezing the Clithar armada in a web of stalled time. Railguns sang, antimatter warheads bloomed, and the nebula burned red with the wreckage of 1,000 Clithar ships. The human flagship, the Defiant Dawn, broadcast a single message. Who's laughing now? The galaxy heard, and the tide turned. The Zarathians, inspired, or maybe terrified, joined the humans. Their crystalline ships adding firepower, their harmonics disrupting Clithar drones. The Vren opened their trade routes, funneling rare isotopes to Earth's shipyards. Even the Dravi, who hadn't fought in eons, sent advisors, whispering secrets of ancient tech that let humans tweak the chronopulse into a planet killer, though they swore never to use it. The Clithar, for all their might, were faltering. The galaxy watched, awestruck, as humanity turned the war into a performance, each victory a brushstroke on a canvas of stars. A Clithar general, captured on Proxima B, stared at a human colonel and hissed, "Why do you fight like this? Like animals?" The colonel, nursing a broken arm, grinned and said, "Because we're free, and freedom's worth a little blood." By the 6th year, the war had reshaped the galaxy. The Clithar's empire, once a monolith, was fracturing. Their enslaved castes, bioengineered workers and soldiers, began to rebel, inspired by human transmissions that slipped through their networks, carrying songs of defiance, images of human children laughing in the ruins of bombed-out colonies, and speeches from Earth's leaders promising a future where no one knelt. The Clithar High Council, desperate, unleashed their ultimate weapon, the Void Maw, a planet-sized bioconstruct that devoured entire systems, its tentrades like a living black hole. It descended on the Vega system, consuming moons and spitting out clouds of drones. The galaxy trembled, but the humans didn't blink. The Defiant Dawn, now legendary, led a coalition fleet, human, Zerathian, and Vren. The war ended in the 7th year. The Clithar's homeworld, a fortress planet of spires and hives, loomed in human sights. The Galactic Concord begged for peace, fearing annihilation. The humans, bloodied but unbowed, paused. Their laughter was quiet now, tempered by loss, but their eyes were hard. They didn't want genocide. They wanted justice. At a summit on the neutral world of Arcturus, humanity's leaders, scarred veterans and young idealists, laid out their terms. Dismantle the Clithar fleets, free their enslaved castes, join the Concord as equals. The Clithar, broken, agreed. The galaxy exhaled. The 1,000-year peace was dead, but a new era dawned, forged in the fires of human defiance. Earth rebuilt, its skies brighter, its people stronger. They raised a monument on Luna, an obelisk inscribed with the names of the fallen, and one line. We laughed, we fought, we won. The Clithar never forgot that laughter, nor did the galaxy. And when a new threat rose, a rogue AI swarm from the galactic core, the aliens didn't hesitate. They called the humans, because when the stars tremble, when the void grows dark, you want humanity at your side, not because they're the strongest or the smartest, but because they'll laugh in the face of oblivion, and then they'll fight like hell.